Is it doing this again?
Yeah.
Dude. Here's where it freight trains right here.
I do not like it.
Hey folks, today's video is brought to you by Albert. Albert is completely different from any bank account you've ever used. You know what sucks about most bank accounts? A lot. Whether it's simple fees for having a checking account, more fees for having a savings account, more fees if you overdraft. Imagine that. You don't have money, and then they charge you for not having money. That doesn't seem right at all. You can't get cash back on debit. They send you paper mail. I mean, it's one thing after another. The traditional banking model is out, folks, and Albert is in. And on top of just being different, they've got genius. With Genius, Albert helps you save automatically. Instead of just opening a traditional savings account and hoping you remember to put money into it, Albert looks at your income and expenses and sees what money you can save. Then they automatically move money into your savings account, sometimes as small as a few dollars at a time. It's like magic. You'll be surprised how much you can save in just a few months. In the Albert app, you can get between 5 and 20% back from your favorite merchants like Walmart, Starbucks, McDonald's, and more. Just swipe your Albert debit card. Also, you can get up to $250 when you need it. Albert won't charge you overdraft fees ever. Instead, they'll spot you $250 when you need it instantly. They'll let you advance up to $250 from your next paycheck and pay it back with no interest and no credit check. You can even get paid up to 2 days early when you connect direct deposit to your Albert card. Depending on, of course, your employer's situation, you can get your paycheck 2 days early. It's pretty good stuff. Managing your money is hard, and so Albert's geniuses on staff are there for you to discuss any financial situation that you have questions about. They're experts, and they're here to help. Hit the link in the description or go to albert.com/TST to get the Albert app now. And for a limited time, when you open a checking account and connect a qualifying direct deposit, Albert will give you $150 to get started. So thanks to Albert for sponsoring today's video.
Morning, folks. It was really cold in the Angeles forest, so we have brought the CT4-V Blackwing to Malibu, where it is a much more reasonable 44 degrees. Don't let the sunshine fool you. It's actually a little bit chilly out there by LA and sporting tire standards.
Correct.
The CT4-V Blackwing, extremely exciting car, and in this video we are going to ask and hopefully answer 3 very important questions. 1, should you get this instead of an M3? And the answer might surprise you. 2, is it as good to drive as the CT5 Blackwing, which we said a couple weeks ago was the best American car ever made, possibly. And is it much better than the ATS-V, which was underappreciated?
Correct.
And is actually quite a good used car value right now.
For performance, absolutely.
Yeah, the ATS-V was. So, it's the more compact sports sedan. It's about the size of BMW's 3 Series, give or take. 3.6 liter V6, twin turbo, 472 horsepower at 5,800 RPM and 445 pound-feet at 3,500 RPM. So that's only it's kind of a narrow power band.
Yeah.
But you have a choice of a 10-speed automatic, which will always find the right gear. There's a gear for everything. Or the 6-speed manual, which has quite long legs.
Yeah, I mean, this top speed in this is 189.
Yeah.
So divide that by 6, you have a lot of spread there.
Right, and the numbers don't really tell the whole story. And numbers that especially don't tell the whole story are the acceleration. 0 to 60 in 4.0, quarter mile in 12.4 at 116. Not that those aren't respectable, they are. But this feels like a car that, from the seat of the pants, as you'll see, feels much quicker than that.
It does, and it's rear-wheel drive, of course. And the difference between this and the CT5 Blackwing in terms of acceleration is a second in the quarter mile.
Yeah. And when you're those numbers came from Car and Driver. They do instrumented testing, and they were testing the manuals. So shift times, launch, etc. It's going to be different from an all-wheel drive dual clutch thing.
Right.
The in-gear acceleration is really what gives you the sense of speed, and we will demonstrate that. Front strut suspension, rear multi-link with MagRide Gen 4, 15-inch front brakes, 13.4-inch rear brakes. They're from Brembo, and 255/35 18s in the front, 275/35 18s in
Praise
the rear.
the Jeebus.
Praise be the Lord of 18-inch wheels.
Sidewall, get a little bit of cushion. It rides better.
Yep.
Tires are cheaper. All of those things.
Yes.
Big fans.
Starts at $58,900, excuse me. This one is $76K because it has $7,000 worth of carbon fiber, optional. It has this interior special, $4,900, sky cool gray with jet black accents, micro suede, all that good stuff. The Tech Pack, which is $700. The electric blue color is $600. And the Climate Package, one of the best values I've ever seen, $600, gets you vented, massaging front seats.
Pretty amazing because heated seats
rules.
come standard in this, but cooled seats for $600 is incredible. Quick note about the color. It looks much better in person. Our camera is not doing justice to this amazing, like, lightly sparkly baby medium blue. So
Yeah.
Look at Google Images. I'll drop one in here.
Look at our Instagram where the
There you
iPhone has done a good job.
Yes.
All right, shall we? Like all high-performance GM cars, you've got your different drive modes, and then you've got your performance traction meter. So you've got a variety of options to make the car drive how you like to drive. I have programmed my V mode on the hot button, which is medium steering, soft suspension, full kill on the motor, medium on the brakes, loud exhaust, and traction control remains on for the time being. See, this is very, very quick. What is good here, the chassis is extraordinary. It's taut, the steering is really sharp, and when you have a good rigid chassis, you can have the shocks set to soft, and that'll give you some compliance, but without any actual slop in the handling.
Right, well, this is a continued evolution of the Alpha chassis, which was the same chassis that the ATS-V used, and also the same chassis that the Camaro uses. So this is like a four-door Camaro, and our complaints about the ATS-V and Camaro actually were never about the way the chassis reacted, how rigid it was, or how responsive it was. It was always either a user experience thing or a sound thing, or you can't see out of it.
Yeah. No more Q. We have a great multimedia system.
With buttons.
Some buttons.
Praise be the
buttons and knobs.
The continuation, well, actually, I guess it's the return to buttons with Cadillac, whereas other companies are now moving toward where Q used to be, which is kind of strange. It's like they're trading suppliers, but I like the way they're laid out. They're super simple. They look nice enough, and I feel like they'll look pretty good for a long time.
Throttle response is excellent. That guy was about it.
Yeah.
Throttle response is excellent. The clutch and shifter feel is excellent. The Macan going what would normally be considered a decent pace, but is not good for us. Not excellent. Oh, the truck is certainly not excellent.
Flip around.
It has auto rev matching. I've never used it. It's very easy to match revs. Turning radius, decent.
Wow.
Decent. Let me go traction control to race. Race 1. Let's just see how we hook up. Launch control.
Little wheel spin.
Launch control holds it at $4,000. Just a little chirp, and you're off.
And that kicks hard on the shift.
Really fast. I mean, really, the 0 to 60 in the quarter mile, it's manual shifting holds back those numbers. It is not a good is not a good indicator of. Yeah, he wanted me to steal home, that guy.
Yeah, that's funny.
Not a good indicator of how fast this car actually feels. This car rips.
I mean, a mid-12 quarter with only a 4-second 0 to 60, like this thing starts pulling.
Yeah,
you know
the zero. So the quarter mile, right, and the 0 to 60 is not that far ahead of the Golf R that we just drove, right?
Right.
But the 0 to 130 is 2 seconds faster than the Golf R. So once you're going and you're in the gear and you're hooked up, this thing gets real quick.
Yeah.
God, I've had this thing for a couple of days now, and I have enjoyed driving it so much. The seat holds you in really nice, but it's not too much to climb over to get in and out of it a whole bunch. The engine sounds pretty nice, almost like a BMW inline 6. They've really improved that. And the pace, the shifter feel is really
so good.
Dude, here's where it freight trains right here. And then the brake feel, really nice also.
So the brakes are an interesting thing because they've updated this servo and what they're trying to do is make the pedal feel exactly the same all the time. So it is constantly adjusting like the amount of pressure that's needed for the braking force, but it makes your foot always feel the same.
It's
which is
interesting.
Cool, but imagine if the fluid started getting really hot or if the brakes started to fade a little bit, you might not be able to feel that through the pedal.
That's interesting.
So I'm curious how owners feel about that as they do track days or really aggressive driving with this.
I mean, the Tony and the people we know who have taken these to tracks have said very nice things about them. They've not been complaining about the brake feel on tracks. So the steering is so sharp, and because you've got Pilot Sport 4S 18s, it's like it really does a nice job of gripping, but also absorbing, and also having a little bit of a softer sidewall, so it's not too harsh. It's so nice.
It sounds good. And then when the burble tune kicks in, I think it's doing a small impression of a V8.
Yes.
Trying to like go, we used to make V8s in a lot of things, but this still kind of sounds like it. But honestly, when we went through a tunnel earlier, I was so happy that it basically just sounds, like you said, like a BMW. It doesn't sound offensive like so many V6s can.
I think Clapman should drive.
Yes.
We'll pull over to the Dead golf course.
Oh, God.
The Dead golf course. It's like Walking Dead over here.
Wow, it really is.
Yeah, it's gone bad.
You know something I'm really happy about? Manual thigh.
Oh, the thigh extender?
Stir. Yeah. Our E46s have that.
Thigh extender's good.
So helpful.
Is it doing this again?
Yeah.
So before, folks, what happened was we had it in V mode, and it actually got stuck in V mode. And the mode switch would change the traction, but it wouldn't change the drive mode.
And it got stuck in traction and ESC off, even though you were not driving with traction ESC off. But for the
yeah, so now we just restarted it, and it allows you to go change the drive mode. So,
right, so now we have steering in full heavy, suspension full stiff.
Everything
is
kill.
maxed. Brake feel max. I'm curious how this is going to feel. This is a quick car. Oop, red line. And the gauges, well, I mean, it's digital gauges, of course, but it's really easy to see. Not all car companies have mastered that.
Except in regular mode, where it's a tiny little tack on the very bottom.
Okay.
So I hate the stiffest shock. I think the stiffest shock is...
Why do you not like it? What's wrong with you? Are you not a race car driver?
It's too stiff.
It's really fast around the Canyon parking lot now. No, it is too stiff.
It's too stiff. And so that's why I wouldn't... And I don't think it makes you go any faster. I just think it makes the ride bouncier.
Well, and it makes the car feel unsettled, which granted, like it's meant for a track, but I just wanted to test it here. But something that we have learned is if the car makes you feel confident, then you will be a faster driver on a bumpy track, for example. If you're worried, like if I'm worried that the car is going to bounce off the track literally like at Willow, then I'm going to slow down.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have that kind of bravery. But if the car is more compliant, it just feels like it's more, you can trust it more.
Yes.
All right, let's go back to your mode.
So just hit V. And now it goes
right
into my V mode. Yeah, shortcut.
There we go. Oh, it immediately smooths out.
Way better.
Yeah, it is way better.
And it's not like you're going slower. We're gonna go, left of the thing.
The brake bite is really good. I know that servo thing is something I want to pay attention to, but the initial bite on this, it grabs hard. And these are steel brakes. These aren't carbons.
They are. So Zach's going to take us into the tighty twisties because we've done the open section here. I like that it shows you on the digital cluster there on the top left, it shows you the percentage of lockup of the electronic LSD, which is pretty cool.
I really like the gauge layout in general. Like the gear indicator is huge.
Yeah.
The tack above it is really bright and clear. And the speed, I think they know, is a little bit less important if you're doing like track driving. So that's the information you want, tack and gear.
This thing is delightful.
This is such a good
great.
car. I mean, I drove it up here. I hadn't driven it all week, but I immediately felt really comfortable in it, like both in terms of ride and the size of it and the visibility. Excuse me, hedgehogs, it's 3 of them.
Non-murderous.
I mean, the things I didn't like about the ATS-V were Q, primarily, and that it sounded like garbage.
Right.
It just sounded like Vuvuzella's being murdered. It was terrible. It was just 350.
It had that awful trumpety sound,
Exactly.
right? The resonating trumpet. Vuvuzela is the right thing.
So
whatever
bad.
they've done with this exhaust, it's not like all of a sudden it's like symphonic, angelic, but for a V6, and this must be 2022 is the year of the good sounding V6. We've got the Maserati MC20, the new NSX Type S, this, all good sounding V6. Maybe the industry has finally figured out that if they're gonna if they're gonna put V6s in cars, we have to make them sound
like something
good.
else.
Yeah,
it's rare that a V6 has like an individual sound and it's good, and it exists.
Yeah.
But for so many of them, I feel like they sound the best when they're turned off.
Yeah.
This is not like that. The only thing this has that's a little bit, I'd say, down from the M3 is that the red line is low, so you get that narrow power band, because max torque in this kicks in 1,000 RPM later than the M3.
Right.
Do you remember the first time we drove the M4? The max torque was like at 2,000, and it hit too early.
Yes.
And they've changed that, but I think this is the right amount. And this shifter puts the M4
the shifter, the clutch
shame.
and shifter,
absolute shame.
Yeah, this feels like even if the magazines have determined that this car would lose by a little bit to the M4 on the racetrack, I am 100% okay with that, because this, to me, is more fun than the M4, competition or otherwise. This is better looking.
Yes,
I've now seen 1,000 M4s on the street, and I cannot get used to it.
I dig the design of these cars. The back is a little,
the rear's a little dumpy, but the front
is cool.
Front 3/4 is excellent. The materials in here aren't impressive, but they're not insulting.
Right.
The seats are very comfortable. The fact that you get massage seats for $600.
And I think all of these systems should keep working for a long time because they're not capacitive, haptic, whatever. And looking at this car and driving this car, I was starting to think about our like E46s, because the values on all of these nostalgic cars has gone up. And I feel like what we're all attracted to are driving dynamics and functionality. And this has both of those things.
Yeah. They haven't made it. It's got a lot of features, but it's not too complicated. They haven't made it complicated for complicated's sake.
Exactly.
So, answer our questions. Should you buy one instead of an M3? I think you should. I think you should. Is it a better car than the CT4-V Blackwing?
I like it better because of the weight, the size,
sure,
and and the interior is basically exactly the same.
I think you would need a racetrack in order to feel the true difference in pace between the 5 and this.
Yeah.
And I like the size of this better.
Yeah.
Although it's hard to argue with that LT4 engine. I like that.
I mean, that is a character that like this will never be able to
match.
Right,
but that was $30,000 more, like 30. Like that's a lot. That's a lot.
That's a huge.
It's a big difference.
Yeah.
And I love the size of this car. And what was my other question? Oh, is it much better than the ATS-V? Yes.
Yeah.
It's way better, and it's way better in the specific ways that we didn't like the ATS-V. Sound, infotainment.
I mean, it has an e-diff now.
Yeah.
The ATS-V has a mechanical slip diff. And this also has MagRide 4, which is really good.
Yeah.
There's like body sensors and wheel sensors. So it's everything I think that we liked about the technology Cadillac used has gotten better.
Yeah.
And the technology we didn't like, which was Q, is gone.
Yeah, it sounds good. It's fast as fuck. It's dynamically excellent. It's incredibly usable. This weird hiccup with the drive modes thing, I don't know if that's our user error because it's done the exact same thing twice, or if the car has had a hiccup. We'll ask Cadillac about that. But in general, what a nice thing. And for $75,000 fully loaded, I can't think of another car I'd rather have for that kind of money.
Yeah. The M3 starts at 73 grand.
Yeah, and you're not getting a good one.
Yeah, if you want a comp, which drives very different and feels much better
It's
than the
in the
regular
90s.
one. Yeah, it's in the 90s.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you to Cadillac for letting us have a go. This is A-OK. Thanks to you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.
And remember, always fight your tickets. Use code TST10 on the Off the Record app available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/TST.